Hello everybody, it's Linda again, and we're going to do something really fun today. We're going to do something to reset and recharge our brain function. And this not only stimulates the neural pathways, kind of the scientific aspects of how our brain works, but it also deals with stimulating our masculine and feminine sides, our linear structured kind of thinking one step at a time, and then that free-flowing multitasking, bringing in ideas from many different directions. There's a part of the brain that facilitates language and communication, and wouldn't it be great if we can get easier access to the words that we would like to communicate with? And what if we're looking for new solutions to old issues and tapping into that deep kind of intellectual and non-intellectual knowledge that the brain function facilitates? So let's play with a couple of little balls, maybe a little bit smaller than a ping pong ball. And for this entire exercise, I'd like you to be sure that these are visualized as very soft, like squishy, and light. So when you toss them, they float through the air and they move easily. So let's just try something here. We're going to just take one ball, and in your imagination, you can watch me maybe just for a couple seconds, and then I suggest you do this with your eyes closed. I'd like you to bounce it on one side of the brain and catch it. So bounce and catch, gently 5 or 6 times. Bounce and catch, bounce and catch, bounce and catch. And then go to the other side, bounce and catch. Bounce and catch gently. Now you'll notice that we're visualizing the brain actually has a structure. It has left and right, top and bottom, front and back. For this exercise, it's almost like the brain is a square box, just to make it easier. Same thing now, only we're going to go front, front, front. So front, catch, toss it to the front, gently catch, and then toss it to the back. And imagine that it just gently bounces off that back wall of the brain, and catch it, toss it, catch it. And now let's go up and down. We'll start with up first, just gently bounce it over the ceiling, the roof of your brain, gently bounce and catch, bounce and catch. 3 or 4 or 5, 6 times. And now just drop it and bounce it on the bottom and let it bounce back up into your hand. So drop and catch, drop and catch. Now the next step is a little more challenging. We're going to toss it against one side of the brain and just let its own inertia bounce all the way to the other side and just bounce back and forth from side to side 3 or 4 or 5 times. Gently just allow it to bounce all the way back and forth. And now let's go front to back. Toss it to the front, let it go all the way to the back, and it bounces back to the front and just keeps going back and forth with its own momentum. And now let's go bounce it against the ceiling and let it drop to the bottom, bouncing back up and down on its own momentum. Now it's getting a little more complicated. 2 balls. And you're going to bounce the ball against one aspect of the brain, the other ball against the other side. And when they bounce off the wall, they're going to come and they're going to pass through each other and bounce on the other walls. Come back, go through each other, bounce, come back and through each other. This is a really good test of how clear your brain is getting, because when I first do this and I bounce it, they miss each other on the way back and they keep missing each other. So just do it a few times until all of a sudden you have the sense that they actually go right through each other, bounce off the other side, come back right through each other. So try that for a few times. How was that? It's fun. I end up laughing sometimes at my inability to make that successful on the first few attempts. So let's try it now front to back. Again, one goes back, and as it comes forward, let's bounce the other one and let them kind of pass through each other as they go front to back, front to back. Softly, easily floating. And the same thing now, we're going, one ball's going up, the other bounce it down, and as they reflect off those surfaces, they pass through each other to the opposing surface. Keep going. Keep going. Do this a few times until you have the awareness that the balls are passing directly through each other. And they're kind of merging into one, and then they separate and keep going. So how was that? Was that fun? Notice now, how does your brain feel? Just check in. For me, I notice that I look around and things in the room are in sharper focus. So your vision may be improved. Maybe you feel a lightness where before you were feeling some foggy or denseness in your head. Maybe you had a slight headache and that's cleared. So just take a minute and check in and notice how your brain feels. We're going to do two more things. I'd like you to imagine one of these balls at the top of the brain and let it just drop it and let it float down your spinal column all the way down through the tailbone and dropping down into the ground, into Mother Earth. Let it go about a foot beneath the earth and then bounce back up to the top of the brain. And let's just do it once more. Drop it and let it go down the spine, down the tailbone into the ground, and back up again, coming up the spine into the brain. And then the last thing is we're going to work with the corpus callosum. Now this is an actual bridge between the left and right hemispheres of the brain. And there are literally a couple 100 million nerve fibers in that neural pathway between the left and right brain, carrying all the nerve impulses and all the information back and forth. They are not all active. It just, we are not known for using all of our brain power. So let's try to enhance those neural pathways and awaken a few more of those beautiful pathways across this bridge between the left and right brain. So I'd like to have you take in your imagination a colored ball of light and make it orange. See that the orange like I'm wearing in my necklace here, a very translucent light orange. And orange switches things on, it activates, it strengthens. So imagine that you're at the beginning of the bridge on one side of the corpus callosum, and just run that orange light across the bridge to the other side. Bring it back the other way. You run it across one side and bring it back the other way. Orange light activating, stimulating, switching on more neural pathways, enhancing this bridge of information that carries messages between the two sides and kind of brings that information together so you can make informed choices, new decisions, and have new creative ideas. So once more, just check in. How do you feel? Maybe you feel some tingling and some activation or some just new energy charging through your body. So enjoy this. Play with it. You can do it anytime. A few seconds, just do one aspect if you don't have time to do the whole routine. But just do this as a quick pick-me-up, recharge, clearing to help you just have better access to this beautiful, functioning, multi-tasked brain that is so amazing, and just bring some of that new refreshment into all the aspects and the ways that you use your brain every day.